Time to make a new lightweight furnace I can fit in my van. So this thing came with the house. Got a little buy-in from relatives. But I'm glad I did, because I think this is what I'm going to use to build my new furnace in. I like this end for the lid just because of the big opening it's already got in it. You get the idea. That ought to work. I guess starting to get okay with an angle grinder, because this fits on pretty snug even when I turn it around to line up this with the potential lid opening hinge bracket thingy. There's the inside of the lid. Nice dome. That's the inside of the tank. I've been thinking about building something a little more portable for a couple of years now. The big furnace is really a lot more furnace than I need for my number 12 Crucible. What do you guys think about the color? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll call it the Red Devil Furnace, because it's a worthless metal bucket lined with a few dollars worth of ceramic fiber blanket with a burner slapped into it. And that's really basically all it's going to be. I think I'm actually going to even go one better. I'm going to make a nice flat floor with these insulating fire bricks. They're, I believe they're the 2300 rated fire bricks. Let's see. Yeah, 23. I used up some old scraps of ceramic fiber blanket left from cutting it up for my other furnace, just to give the bricks something to sit on so they can lay flat without being perched on their corners on the edge of the dome. There we go. I used up all my scraps, just 2 bricks. I got a nice floor. It's not moving. It's pretty, hopefully it's fairly level. There's a few little gaps here and there, but I'm going to have a wall of ceramic fiber blanket that's going to come pretty much up to here anyway. And it's all going to have some Satanite or something smeared over it. You really don't want to work with any of this stuff unless you're wearing a mask on or you have it sealed up with a product like that. Here's my plinth from the other furnace. It's made of that same dense castable refractory. All this ash you see on it. Here's a tip: when you go to use your furnace, put a couple of layers of the heavy corrugated cardboard on the plinth, because you see all this stuff on the edge. This is glaze from my Crucible, I believe, and it'll stick your Crucible right to the plinth. You see some videos where people are carrying the plinth around with their Crucible. So if you want to avoid that, use the cardboard trick. It leaves a layer of carbon and ash in between the Crucible and the plinth that'll prevent it sticking. The reason I have all this glaze on here now, I believe, is because the first time I melted bronze, my Crucible was still hot enough to be oozing a little bit of glaze when I put it back in the furnace after I was done pouring to slow cool overnight. And the next time I went to cast, it was stuck to the plinth. It wasn't stuck very hard. It came off with just a little bit of a twist. It was enough to worry me for a sec, though. I still don't put cardboard in after I'm done melting, and I haven't had that happen again. Anyway, this will have some Satanite on it before the plinth is sitting there, but that's just so I can put the Crucible on there and figure out how tall this furnace needs to be so that everything fits nice. Those insulating fire bricks are the super light ones. They crumble easily. You can cut them with a hand saw, shape them real easy. They're not the hard ones like you see in like a wood stove or whatever. Those act as a bit of a heat sink. They can take the heat, but they're not really that insulating. These ones are super insulating. Crucible in there. Comes up to about there. And the lid's going to dome up slightly, so yeah. Maybe a snug fit. It might be more suited for propane than waste oil. I'm not really sure how well the Satanite and insulating blanket furnace will hold up to an oil burner anyway, so we'll have to see how that goes. Let me get my Sharpie out again. That's just a rough idea. Sorry, got a marker cap in my mouth. That's just a rough idea of how high it's going to go, how much I got to cut off. That's that much. That'll be down to about there. That's going to be a little short guy. Good. I don't think I have quite as much of this stuff left as I thought. I hope, the bottom half is, I think it's just enough to do the first wrap around outside it. The stuff is a little thicker than, I think it's supposed to be the 1-inch stuff, but if you don't compress it when you put it in, it's a little thicker than that. So will the top half be enough to do the inner circle? I hope so. But I don't think I have enough to do the lid. I was hoping to do this on a $0 budget. I might not be able to. And miraculously, it is enough. Just barely. You gotta love that. Well, I decided to cut a couple inch strip off the top of what I had there. It's now just below the rim of the Crucible, about, that much. But the lid is domed enough that it will give enough clearance for it. Cutting that off gave me a couple, two 2-inch strips to work with towards packing the lid with insulation, but as you can see, it wasn't quite enough. So I am gonna have to buy a tiny little bit more of this stuff. It's a shame. I thought I could do it. What can you do? So I cut down the drum just below the top of the ceramic fiber. That should give you an idea how short and compact this thing really is, and how the Crucible just barely protrudes above there. It'll be inside the lid technically, hopefully reflecting tons of heat back down into the charge in the Crucible. Well, I took it back out and tried again, and I think I got a little closer, but I still do need a little bit more. The still lid is going to be one of the best insulated parts because it's where all the heat gathers. Well, just to give you guys an idea how much less furnace I'm going to have to heat up once this thing's working. There it is sitting on the top, the black dread. And don't worry guys, you haven't seen the last of the black dread. But I think this new Red Devil furnace is going to be awesome. How would you call it, a forge? Well, I'm still waiting on Satanite to coat the ceramic fiber blanket and a little bit extra ceramic fiber blanket. But meanwhile, take a look at this. I got this, right? I was going to use these, but because it's curved and it's so near this edge, I was worried it was going to clamp down like that and the wheels would be going crooked from each other. But if you look at this part that came with the training wheel from one of my kids' long outgrown bikes, and it's as if it was made special just for this purpose. It will keep it from bending around like that. Here you have it. You get the idea. I'm going to put the camera down and tighten that up. There we go. Got wheels on it. I'm going to got to figure out how to put some kind of leg on the front because it's sitting a little high on this end right now. Well, since I ran out of ceramic fiber insulation, I had to get a little more. So I was able to get that. What I did was, it's slightly less heat tolerant than the stuff I had in before, which is rated for 2600 degrees Fahrenheit. This stuff is 2300 degrees rated. So I kept the inner layer of the 2600 Fahrenheit ceramic fiber blanket and replaced the outer one, which is good because the outer one is actually longer anyway, which left me enough to do the lid of the higher temperature stuff, because the lid is what's going to take a lot of the heat blasting up at it. Okay, let's have a look. Here's what's left of the 2300 degree fiber blanket. These are some of the scraps I was playing around with, trying to make stuff fit into a lid. Here's the relined furnace. It's got 2600 degree wool, 2300, and that little, I put that little ring around the bottom just to make sure the edges of the bricks were covered and there weren't any air gaps there. That's the 2300 degree stuff down at the bottom of the furnace. The lid, I just cut the ring of 2600 degree blanket into 2-inch wide strips, and this part I kept that I had there before. It's just friction fit in there, and these I just tried to make sure all the bottom sides of them were touched up against it, and they well, I hope they'll kind of want to stay in there just from their own friction fit. But here's the real test. It's gonna fall out. Not right away. That's good. Hopefully the dome is tall enough that it won't be bumping the Crucible on here once I got some layers of coating painted on it. I gotta bend this into a handle. So I cut that wrong. It's not filming. That seemed to work okay. So let's cut it off about here. That ought to do it. Well, handle. Woohoo! Bent piece of rebar. I got it bent up. There's a slight lean back to it, which I think is good. It just hooks into these two pieces of pipe that I drilled a hole through, that I can stick a bolt through to put them in here. The bolt takes up enough room that the rebar can't go down any farther than where it hits it. So simple. You can pop it in and out. The only downside of it is that you can't use the handle to like pull it up and down little stairs, going through doorways and stuff like that, because the handle will just pull out. But it's just there to like move it short distances while it's hot, and for the lid to lean on when it's open. So I think it'll work for that. Well, getting ready to cut the tuyere. It's really just the French word for burner hole. Alright, we have a tuyere. Now, since I want to use the same burner as my old furnace, I took this off my old furnace and sized it based on that. If it's in there, it keeps the burner away from the wheel. You can see if it comes in down there. backed in a little bit, out of harm's way. This is going back on the Valerian, but I'm gonna buy another one of these exhaust pipes and just make another one, buy one the same size, cut it exactly the same. And I mean, I already had to spend a couple dollars on ceramic fiber. Other than that, everything has been free because I already had it lying around. I keep harping on that, but pretty happy about how little I've spent on this so far. But I do want to buy that one thing because I like the way my burner on its little sleeve kind of just sits in there and locks in where it flares out. I don't have to fool around trying to figure out how far in to stick the burner every time because it's just always in the right spot. By the way, this actually compressed ceramic fiber blanket. I didn't compress it myself. It came that way. Got it years ago when I was buying refractory, the castable dense stuff that I built my other furnace with. He thought I should line my oil drum with this stuff. I didn't end up doing that. I wound up using the this stuff with castable refractory in front of it, but I bought some of this stuff anyway. So I'm thinking it'll make a good gasket so that the lid gets a fairly good seal. I got one for the underside of the lid as well. I welded a nut onto the bottom of this washer, and then I welded the washer onto the end of this pipe. I cut half the pipe off, and I'm going to weld these sides here to the front of the red tank. Weld this onto a piece of plate, and I have an adjustable height, so I can worry about it being level later. So that'll hold up the furnace so it'll be level. Well, the adjustable height foot thing works. Turn this little disc and it'll to level the furnace wherever it might be sitting. Now it's nice and stable. Welds ugly, but hopefully they'll hold. Yeah. Gasket's looking like it's sitting nice and flat, actually. Pretty good. One little gap right here. I might have to, I don't know, we'll figure that all out later. Oh, here's the lid. It doesn't really want to fall out of here, but just in case, I drilled a bunch of holes around the edges. And I can kind of just push and thread in some of these 3-inch screws at an angle so that they don't come out too close into the hot spot. I think once these are in and they're just hand tightened in, not even tight, just so that they pin the things together beside each other, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. There we have it. Nothing's falling out. It's not going anywhere. Well, there's a 2AR welded in place. I just tacked it a couple spots. So it pretty much comes in just at the right angle I want it to. Alright, let's see. Looks about good. Let's see where the end of the burner is got to now. Well, that's nice. Just back out of harm's way, but close enough to be blowing those oil drips in there, or propane, or whatever it's running on. So, I'm definitely going to get back to you guys and let you know how it goes when the Satanite does arrive. It's been nearly a month since my buddy shipped it from the US, so I'm sure something's gone wrong. I'm going to have to order some. Anyway, when the Satanite does arrive and I fix it up, I'll do an update